What's up, good people? Welcome to this live from By the Hood. I'm the host as always. My name is Jimmy. I got my partner Corey with me. What's up, Corey?
I'm chilling like a villain, man. As long as I'm living and breathing, I'm good.
I heard that. I heard that. We waiting for our sister Jazz to come on. Talk a little bit about what's going on in the market. Her journey from being nothing but a real estate investor to adding stocks, to her investment portfolio. Talk a little bit about that. Answer question from the folks that are out there watching on YouTube as well as Facebook, and a little bit about what we got going on, man. So, how was your week in terms of what happened in the market?
My week was pretty good. I had some positions that got crushed the previous week that I made a killing on this week. Because I give my positions a little time. I give them a little air to breathe. I swirl it around like how the dudes, the sommeliers swirl around the cup with the I let mine swirl a little bit. So I came out of I trade basically three companies. So I trade Microsoft and Visa, and then I started trading Plug. Um, and so and I trade Roku too, but my secret with Roku is I only really traded during their during earnings week because I know what they're gonna do
Okay.
during earnings week. But anyway, I started trading Plug because the electric vehicle push is about to go crazy, and I think they're the best in that space. I think they're the best in that hydrogen fuel cell space. There's a few companies in that space like IDEX and FCell. Um,
hmm
but I think Plug is positioned the best to take advantage of the
Yo, I
new
can't
regulations.
confirm. I can't confirm nor deny that. I have no experience with that, but that's the great thing about investing. I don't have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I don't have to follow every single company, and that's one of the best lessons that I've ever gotten in terms of
yeah,
trading options or even investing long term. Like, yo, you don't have to follow everything. I don't have to sit here and just rattle off ticker symbols if I focus on what I want to focus on.
no, for
And
sure.
that's just not one of my companies or one of my sectors or however you want to break it down. That's just not one of my things. It's interesting though. What happened with AT&T? I thought you was messing with AT&T.
That's one of my long term. That's one of my four for my long term. I actually picked up 200 shares of Plug for my long term portfolio too, just because I want to see what it do. You know what I mean? Like, I had a chance to pick up AMD about 3 years ago, and I had
Mhm.
identified it as a good company because of what's going on with with the new processes and going on, and it was about $6 a share
Okay.
3 years ago, and I didn't pull the trigger. So I don't want to be that dude twice. So if I'm
Yeah.
identifying
Yeah.
a company, I did the same thing with Roku. I started buying Roku shares, um, and when they got to about $75, I sold out, but I bought them at $17 because I thought that was the top end for them, and then lo and behold, they $130 a share, and I played myself a little bit. But I'm good at identifying these companies. It's just about the landing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. I just got a question. Well, first off, those are watching, you can give us any sort of question about any sort of advice or any kind of sort of comments you want to make. You can leave those and we'll get to those. I just got one on Instagram. It was funny because we're not even live on Instagram. Somebody's watching us, but they sent me a message on Instagram, and it's for you, Corey. Basically, what's the maximum amount of companies that you'll trade at one time?
5,
It, five. Okay, I'm gonna ask you. Is there a number? Okay.
5.
Okay.
Because I can't. I don't want to be chasing companies around. I'm polygamous, but I'm not. I don't want that chasing around 3,000 companies life. I don't want that life. I could do that. I have done that. But I don't really chase around a gang of companies. I don't even want to do it in my long term portfolio. So
Got you. Got you.
my
Well, hold
whole
on,
thing
Corey.
is go ahead.
I was gonna say, hold on one second, because Jazz is getting ready to join us. So ladies and gentlemen, watching this, we about to bring on our sister Jasmine Williams, real estate superstar, but now she's investing in the market. So I want to add her to the mix as well. Jazz, how are you?
Good. I am so sorry. I'm like,
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you
Oh,
guys.
there.
We
Yeah,
there?
yeah,
Okay,
Hey.
we here.
cool.
We
No,
good.
Yeah, we good. We good.
You good? Okay. I
Uh,
um I was like, what the heck? I thought it was 8 o'clock, so I apologize.
no, it's all good.
No,
It's all good. It's
I
all
was
good.
like chilling, wait for it to start. How's everything going?
Yeah, but everything's good. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. So Corey was just talking about his experience in terms of trading. So we had got a question from someone on Instagram who was watching. They wanted to know what's the maximum amount of companies that he would trade at one time, and he says five. I don't even go that high. Also, real quick, just want to acknowledge the folks that are shouting this out. So
it's good, Don.
um, Don, what's good, folks? Don, good people, man. Thank you for all your support, Don. We really appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? So we got some more questions coming in. I'm gonna get right to the people. Let's.
Let's get to the people.
All right. How do you feel about Stash App for investing? How you feel about Stash App? You guys want to tackle this? Have you ever experienced it, Jazz? You ever tried it before?
So I like Stash App. I think I was telling you guys I like Stash App for my son because it allows you to have the custodial account there, and um, it allows you to buy uh, the smaller shares in the stock
Fractional shares, yeah.
shares. So that's like a good thing because when you're starting out, you just want to kind of get started and you don't really have a ton of money to throw at it. So that was good for me to start for sure.
Got you. Corey, you got any experience with it? Anything you want to say?
I mean, I have experience with a similar app, which is Acorns. They're similar in nature.
Okay.
Um, so you know, I don't even know how much is in my Acorns account to be honest. Like it
Yeah,
just goes when it swipes out
right,
when I swipe
right.
my card. So I could be a millionaire and not even know it on Acorns. Um,
Yeah.
but I could be. I haven't looked at it in. I opened it in 2017 and I haven't looked at it in 3 years. So
Yeah.
I could be an Acorns millionaire. But we I mean I did the same thing. Like when I opened a Binance account in 2017, I bought 60 coins. I could be a coin millionaire right now. I wouldn't even know.
See,
Hey,
you gotta
listen, that's a good thing because you probably take it out and put it in the options market.
right. That's
I
what
would.
Let it sit there and grow.
check it, my man.
But Tamika, if you're just starting out, you know that's cool. You probably want to graduate. So I say to something else. But if you're starting out, there's nothing wrong with that. The idea is just to get started. So we don't necessarily focus on which platform. We just want people to get in the game. But thank you for the question. We appreciate it. We have the brother Chris checking from the UK. Chris, what's going on? He said it's 12 a.m. Listen,
Damn.
that's love. That's love. We appreciate that, fam.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
That's mad
He has
love.
another question. What do you think about ADA? You talking about Cardano?
Yeah. Because they just got put on what's the Coinbase? They just got put on
Coinbase?
Coinbase. Yeah, so Cardano is moving to Coinbase. They're putting a stake, so you'll be able to stake them on Coinbase. So I mean, if that's what you into, I mean, staking is cool because you get more coins. So you know, you do it. I don't have a problem with Cardano and staking coins because staking coins allows you to get more coins.
Yeah, I hated their wallet that they had, but if they're on the new exchange, that's probably good because I hated their wallet. We got Jose checking in. Jose, what's up, good brother? Always supporting. We appreciate that. You know what I mean? Oh, you got the coach. The coach, is that coach?
The coach is in
Absolutely.
here.
Carter.
Yo,
He said that's all he-
I knew that.
You got to self quarantine for
I
14
am
days.
outside and the pollen is killing me, but I'm out. I'm here. So no, it's too many
Yo, it
houses.
had to be Malik.
It had to be on there.
All right, guys. So here's a question from Karima. She's a beginner and she wants to know: would you recommend a stock like Microsoft? What I'll say about that is this: I already know what Corey's going to. Corey thinks that Microsoft is one of the top three. I think he said the top three run companies
In
in
the world.
America. Well, excuse me, in the world.
Yeah.
Microsoft is a great company. If you're just starting out, though, the first thing I would say, and again, this I have to make a disclaimer. This isn't investment advice. This is just us giving something for, education and entertainment. But if you're just getting your feet wet, you don't have anything else, I probably would suggest an ETF or a fund just so you can see how it works. Maybe like the Vanguard 500 or something like that. But Microsoft wouldn't be, if you were like, look, I just want to go to an individual company. That's a great company. It's one of the
Yeah.
best companies, and they're a conglomerate. So they're damn near like a mutual fund themselves when they talk about the
Yep.
fact they own Xbox, Office, their cloud services. They own GroupMe, they own LinkedIn, like, so they out here getting to it. So that's a great company. And Karima, thanks for the comment as well. What else
Roby,
we got?
what's up, fam?
Roby, what's up, sis? How you? Salute to Nairobi. We appreciate you checking in as always. So Jazz, let's talk a little bit about you though, right? So you're a real estate superstar. You're one of the best agents in the city. Yeah,
I want to
and
I want to be the best agent slash investor. So how do I take that to the next
okay.
level? Because right now I'm entry. I'm just still doing my $5. I put a little bit more. Malik teased me and said, "Jazz, I think you could do a little more now." So I did a little more, and I'm not scared anymore. So
But here's,
That's
here,
that's
but
the
here's the
first.
great
That's the
thing, right?
first part. That's the first part. Not being scared. So
I'm not scared.
you at step 2. Step 1 was
I'm
getting
at,
started.
But you also,
You at step 2.
yeah, you took the first step. The first step is getting started, which you did. Like, you got started and you started small. You said, look, I'm just gonna put $5 in a day, but that actually grew for you. So, and that's a good thing because now you see the power of compounding, and how it grew for you.
yeah,
But the great thing is the percentage is the same. So if you
right.
make 10%, is the difference of making 10% on 5,000 or $5. It's still 10%.
It's still 10%.
So, you know, let me see. So we got a couple of
I'm ready to go ahead and
questions.
my strategy. I'm finishing up one last investment property, and so my energy has been going to that. And so when
Is it a
that's
buy and hold or you're flipping it?
I only buy and hold. I've never flipped.
Okay,
So
okay.
I am not a flipper. I like to buy and hold. I like, strangely enough, I like tenants. Um,
Whoa,
I like
that is
I,
strange.
and my tenant. I could have sworn she told me she was in labor last month when her rent was late, but she just texted me again and said she's in labor now. So I don't know what I missed, but
Both could be true. Both could be true. Both could be
That's
true.
a
I
well,
just,
you try that's a fast turnaround, or maybe it was
No,
a
that's no.
false alarm last time. I got you. I got you. I
Yeah,
got you. I got
yeah,
you.
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So
Both could have been true.
so but other than that, I've been blessed though, man. I've been blessed. I've been blessed to learn a lot of real estate investment, from Malik, and a lot of construction from our bro, and then a friend of mine. He is a mason, and so he's taught me a ton of just how to monitor and do manage job sites and stuff like that. So I do my sites myself right now, and I'm looking at a group of properties. It's about 12 units over in West Mount Airy.
Ooh,
So if I get that when I'm chilling for the rest of the year,
man.
but
Listen,
yeah,
that Westmont area, like
Yeah,
that's nice.
you get into a bag over there. Let me find out. Jazz get into that big bag. She eat
that
the
really
big piece of chicken.
that
But hold
changed.
on though, you have one half of what I call a cheat code down packed already. Because what happens is once you get rental properties, and I was having this conversation with Malik offline. I was telling him, I'm like, once I figured out that I can, when I do my pro forma, I literally add a line for stock purchase. So the same way I calculate for taxes, insurance, inspections. So what happens is your rental properties will start to buy your stock for you, and that's the
Mm.
real cheat code, especially if you're buying dividend stocks. Because now it's like you're
Now that
sitting here and you're buying stock, and now you got like your properties over here next to you. They got a whole team, and we all are going at it for you. So, but you got one half of that down already. So now if
yeah,
you can figure out a way to
I
to
didn't
to implement that, then you can build a
right
portfolio.
right now what I've been doing is buying down my debt because I incurred a lot of debt kind of getting in the game. And so what I've been
Mm-hmm.
throwing a lot, well, like all of the rent on the debt, and just but I've been also working hard just to pay down that debt as well. But I didn't even think about the stock part of it because, hey, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well, that's the thing. Like when you were coming up, like, and I guess real estate was like a thing. You had people that were in real estate. Like, did you ever think about the stock market before?
mm-mm. I did. And I honestly
Yeah.
didn't start thinking about it until Todd Capital
Hmm.
on Instagram, and I got I like it. Like I think it was during quarantine time, and I was talking to my friend. He was like, "Yeah, we should do stock," and I'm like, "Okay." And I just always, whenever people would ask me about it, because stock and real estate really go together. So
Yes, they
you
do.
know, he would, people would always ask, "Oh, do you invest in stock?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't really know much about it." Or I like bricks because I can touch it and feel it. I can go and visit it. I can sell it and things like that. But investing now is just like, why didn't I do this before?
That's what everybody says. Yo, that's what everybody says.
Yo, listen,
Like,
Yo,
when you put that,
shout, shout,
yeah, when you put that first bag over your shoulder, you be like, holy shit,
always,
what have
you
I
know,
done?
the one thing, I don't have any regrets though, because the one thing that I'm doing now is I talk a lot about my son, but I also have an 18-year-old daughter. I don't talk about her because she's 18-year-old and she can be a pain in the butt. But I
got you.
am, I am um, teaching her how to invest. So she has her own Robinhood account, and of course, she has Cash App and stuff like that. That she's putting, she has she has a job, and then she has a small business like that does lashes. And I'm like, sis, instead of buying everything under the sun or ordering out, and I said, you should be invested in Uber Eats before anybody, because
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And so
You keeping them in business.
yeah, and so I've been, so there's no regrets, because now I can say that I've trained and taught my children how to really invest their money and not just waste it away. I interviewed someone. I'm one of the leaders of this of a investor group that's strictly for women. It's called Real Estate Invest Her, right? And so we were
Hmm.
interviewing this woman, and she was telling us, her thought is into, she's strong about being a mom and being an investor. I mean, she owns, I think it was 1,500 units. From She lives up in like Allentown, and then she
Hmm.
has some units down in Alabama and in Atlanta. And she was, I was telling her, I said, well, what does the legacy look like for your kids? And she's like, I'm just teaching them financial education no matter what. So her son wants a car, and she's like, you know what? I mean, obviously she could buy him a car, right? But she's like, I'm not going to buy you a car. I'll buy you a property, and then you can take the residual from that property and buy yourself a car, and pay your own insurance. I think her son is 19 years old. So I think that, as African Americans, if we don't start thinking like that, I don't even know. Like,
Hmm.
we're gonna really just. I was reading a post. I think it was Malik's post, talking about the wealth gap, about how, we're gonna miss this wealth gap. Like, just we're gonna miss it because we keep investing in things that just don't matter. And
Yeah,
so
I think that's changing though. Like with you out here, with we out, like us out here, like it's a lot of people talking about it,
I,
and we're having these conversations.
I agree.
You mentioned Todd. Shout to Todd. I'm on episode 54. If anybody wants to check that out,
Yeah.
but yeah, I was on there. But so it's a lot of people out there having these conversations. And I want to talk to you about that too. Before I bring that up though, we got a couple more people that are checking in, and I want to make sure that I acknowledge them. Um, Samira Lawson. Hey y'all, Samira, listen. Samira just got our course. I hope you enjoying it. If you got any questions, remember to let us know. But what's going on, Samira? How are you? Don is commenting about, like, what we said. He said for beginners, S&P 500 ETF as your base. That's what he believes.
yep.
Okay.
Um, who else we got coming in? We got Claudette Elliott. Hello there, guys. Which class do you suggest for someone that needs to learn? Well, I'm glad you asked. we, we,
Um,
yeah.
well, I'll let them tell you about their course, but their course, one, I'm telling you, Claudia, and she's a really good friend of mine.
Okay.
Her
Jazz got the connection.
Yeah, her sister supported me like early on in my business. And they still do. They send me tons of people all the time, and they're just good people. But Claudette, I'll inbox you because the course. When I tell you that course is like one of those things, is like one of those you be like, oh, I didn't even realize it. You don't realize how easy it is until you sit down and do it. And and Jimmy and Corey are probably one of the most patient instructors that I've ever experienced, especially if they're able
I
to do
appreciate that.
it.
Appreciate
Yeah.
that. So Chris, he's talking about ADA. He said he missed the answer. Chris, what he said about ADA was it's a good time because going to Coinbase and Corey, you said there's a way for you to build up some coins.
Yeah, because they're going there so that they can allow staking. So
Yeah.
staking is
Okay.
when you can put up a portion of it and then get more coins. So yeah, go ahead.
Got you. All right. So that's that one. Morgan Rashida on YouTube, chiming in from YouTube, says, hello, new financial freedom family. What's going on? How are you?
What's going
We
on?
appreciate the support. It's a funny one. Nairobi says 12 units. That gives me
Right?
Growing. If we're not growing, it's this is nothing.
Yeah.
I do.
Don says there is a true change happening. There's a true change happening. I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to your part in this too, Jazz. I just wanted to make sure. And let's see right here. Claudette's chiming in as well. She says thank you. So she's giving you a shout out. And let's see.
What up,
Everett? What's going on, fam? How are you? Appreciate the support. And last one before I talk to Jazz, he says, do you guys have a portfolio sharing? I'll tell people my portfolio. I have no problem at all telling my personal portfolio because it's what I do.
What does that look like?
I stand behind it. Well, I don't own that many companies, believe it or not. So I've been long. I tell people that Coca-Cola was the first company I ever bought, and I still have those shares. I have Coca-Cola shares that are about to be turned 24. So I have shares in Coca-Cola that are older than some folks that are probably watching this. So my long positions are Coca-Cola, Disney, Johnson & Johnson. I have two companies that I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those yet, which are DraftKings and Penn National Gaming. I'm a big ETF guy. For the last year and a half, I've been exclusively buying MGK, a mega cap growth ETF. I own the Vanguard Financial ETF. A huge portion of my portfolio is in the S&P 500, and I own VGT, which is a technologies ETF, which holds a bunch of tech companies. Also got some total bond market index funds, and outside of that, I think that I have what's called my Dorsey portfolio. So I do a lot of business in terms of books that we sell, and we go in the community and do things, and people pay me with Cash App. So anytime someone pays me with Cash App, I take all that money and I buy Square and Twitter, which are the companies owned by Dorsey, just as a test. I want to test something. So that's pretty much it. Oh, one more portfolio. It's just a couple companies: T-Mobile, Peloton, Discover, and Nokia. And that's pretty much it. And I said that's pretty much it. And I said rattled off a whole bunch of stuff. And outside of that, I own real estate, so apartment buildings and single-family homes.
And go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jazz.
No, so is Nokia? Do they do things outside of phones?
Yeah.
They're a full
They're
tech
big on
company.
they're a full tech company that does 5G. They're gangster.
Yeah, they're big. They're big in the 5G. So that's that. And Karima James says, are you going to post a discount code for the Green Everything group? Yes, there is a discount code. Hit up Jazz directly because she can send you the link to sign up and just, you can use it.
I'll post it tonight.
Okay. And before I get to the question, because our audience is, shout out to all y'all for watching. There's a question directly for you, Jasmine. In getting a multi-unit development, what are some of the things that you look for?
Cash flow. I'm looking for money.
Yeah.
All right, simple. That's very simple.
Yeah.
That's simple.
What are the risks? Yeah.
But the thing about the thing that I'm sure Jimmy and Corey, I know we have a lot of people that are not necessarily in the Philadelphia area. The thing about that's unique about the West Mount Airy section is because we know that area, right? And so we know that value is going to be crazy come by the time the kids are older. So that's it's going to hurt a little bit going in. It's a huge investment going in, at least for me. So going in is going to be like, okay, it still cash flows really well, but I got to get it to where to where it goes. But once that sucker is paid off, they better not ever sell. You better not never let them sell these properties.
It's called a
Exactly.
trust.
It's all about.
Oh yeah, you know that. I ain't playing with them. My
Got you,
daughter was so
but something like that, something like that can stay in your family forever. That can stay in your family forever. Um, and that's interesting, right? So you're talking about 12 units in Westmount area, and that can be like that's a huge legacy right there. Do you talk to your kids about your rental properties? Like, how do you expose them to what you do in real estate? Like, how do you have those conversations? How old are your kids, by the way? I know one is 18. What's
Yeah,
your son? How old is he?
my son is 12. So from day one, even me being a realtor, I talked to they knew, they went to properties and knew how to show properties. Then when I became an investor, they became my demo crew. They became, the people that help clean up, all summer long. Is no summer camp. So my son is at the property, helping the painters, even if he's just passing the buckets. That's what he's doing, because the thing is that when he gets my age, or, when he's in his 20s, I want him to be able to manage a site and know every aspect of what's happening on the site, so that nobody can get over on him. Because he's going to say, look, man, it only takes a couple of days to do this, or it only takes whatever to do that. And so that's really what I'm teaching them, early on, and then showing my daughter the logistics of it, the paperwork of it, going to the municipal building, getting the rental licenses, all of those types of things, so that when she walks into it, she's walking in with the knowledge of, at least bottom line, like, I know how to pull a rental license. I'm getting her to get her notary license, because that's kind of like how I started out in real estate. When I first got my license, of course, nobody wanted to use me because I was brand new. So I had my notary license, and I would, be a signing agent. And so with doing that, I'm telling my daughter, look, you could take the same thing. I used to make like $500 to $700 a week. That's amazing for a few hours of work. You know what I mean? So it's just like, just showing the basics and then building that up. That's really what it's been.
So how important for you was it, as you go through your journey to build up, for you to always have them involved? Like, is that something you started from the beginning, or like, was that a conscious decision?
Very beginning, completely conscious decision. And the reason why is because nobody showed me, right? My mom, working parent, single parent. My dad was a contractor, but we weren't really connected. So it was just more of me, like, saying, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. And I wanted to show them, because it's just like, I didn't graduate from college. So I'm not necessarily saying that no to college. I think that everybody should have that experience. But if you decide not to go, you got to learn, and you got to know how to do something. So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
having those conversations with them early on was something is important to me. And at
That's
first,
amazing.
kind of, at first it was, kicking and screaming, right? Going to the getting them to go to the to do what they want, what I needed them to do, or to learn. But then now it's just like, oh, well, what are we doing next? Or is this our property? Things like that. Especially my daughter was especially interested in the Airbnb model that we did.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's dope. That's dope, and that's amazing. And congratulations to you for doing that, because that's very important. Um, Karima wants to know, how many shares of each company should a beginner buy? That's a good question. Great question. And my answer to that would be, what can you afford? So we don't want you out here, changing your whole lifestyle because, you want to get involved in the market and you go buy a bunch of stuff and now you can't pay your bills. Do what you can afford so you can learn. Because the idea is just to get into the game so you can start to learn and then progress from there. Because you also want to invest in yourself and make sure you understand exactly what it is you're doing. But you can start small just so you can try. And in these days, you can even buy fractional shares, which is amazing. But
Yeah.
that will allow you to, get in the game. Corey, did you have a response for that?
Yeah. Just buy what you can afford. Like, don't. I was gonna say something like, yeah, don't overextend yourself, because, you know, I would say put in what you wouldn't, if you wouldn't die losing. So, if it's $5 or $10 a week, if you got to give up a frappuccino a week to get into the market, do that. You know what I mean? You can give up a frappuccino a week to get into the market. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
do that.
it's a great book out there called The Latte Factor, and he actually mentions about how you can build wealth just by cutting out latte. But you know, and this is also for Jazz right here. Karima wants you to know that she wants to be like you when she grows up. So had to show you that.
So do I. So do
It,
I.
we all do, Karima. So Don puts out there VTI, VTG are about 75% of his portfolio. J&J, MCD, Microsoft, Amazon Waste Management, Lowe's, and P&G make up the other 25. Procter and Gamble, McDonald's. So
Yeah.
is that VTG or VGT? Because those both are on the market, by the way. Because I actually VGT is that one tech ETF that I own is VGT, but I know VTG is also on the market as well. So, but that's Don giving up his.
Corey,
Nice.
And Claudette says
Uh,
that
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Claudette says, no, I'm saying she says, Jazz, you all them actively involved in vision. So another one vouching for you, Jazz, and that's important. That's important.
No, Corey. So, what does your portfolio look like? I know Jimmy
All right.
here with
All
us.
right. So mine is my main. I only got four in my main portfolio. So I trade. I mean not trade, but in my long term portfolio, I have Realty Inc. Which is stock symbol O. I have T-Mobile, Coca-Cola, and then I have VU.
Okay.
But I have like 10 other companies in my portfolio, but I have like 10,000 shares of those companies because I trade cover calls on those companies to buy my main companies. So I have like Ford and General Electric, and I have Sirius XM, Nokia. So I have a bunch of these little small companies that, you know, their stock price doesn't move very much. So I just run covered calls on them and I make, a couple $100 a week, and I take that money and put it into my main
Okay.
company. So I got
So
10,000.
that's more part of your trading strategy, not your necessarily long term
Yeah,
strategy
yeah,
that you're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about, right?
Yeah. So I mean, they're in they sit in the same place as my long term portfolio. It's just I take the money from
Hmm.
those every week and I put it into my long
I
term
got you. I got you. So
portfolio.
VGT, Don, that's what I thought. That's what I thought you were talking about. VGT, that's a Vanguard technology fund. I own that too. That's the fund I was talking about. So that's a
Yeah.
pretty good fund. So Jazz, here's a question I have for Jazz though, right? Because you're successful at what you do in real estate. You're adding the stock market portion to learn how to get involved in that. But one of the moves that you made this year, which I was fairly impressed with, is like getting active in your group. You created a group and you're helping people get started in business, right? And I think that's very impressive because I've been in some of those webinars you're giving out, and I'm like, I told you the other day the most impressive one I saw was
Care
she was
business.
talking about the home health care.
Did you
That
see?
was amazing.
So,
Okay.
That was amazing.
that group, I started that because I think that everybody should own some sort of business, right? So even if it's not um a big business or something that everybody is some sort of business. If you're an Uber driver, you're an independent contractor. If you file your stuff right, you're a business. If you are um if you have a delivery service, you're a business. Notary, you're a business. Home health care, all these smaller businesses that can make exponential amounts of money. When people ask me when we're going through the home buying process, they always ask me like, how can they build their savings and things like that. And it's just like the go to is, oh, I can pick up more hours at work, or the go to is I can get a second job, or things like that. And it's just like I I would rather you just start a business of some kind. So I always ask them, what are their, what are their talents? What are their dreams? What's something that they're good at? And people just, when you ask that question, a lot of people, some people are just like, oh, I'm good at this, I'm good at that. Some people have to think about it. And then when they think about it, like I'm the only person in my family that knows how to make the banana pudding that everybody loves. Right. And so I'm encouraging people to pull the trigger on starting those small businesses, and letting that be a way to bring in extra income. A small business could be an Airbnb. It could be being a real estate investor. Those are all businesses, and people don't really look at it that way. They look at it as being something else. And I just feel like if people take that plunge, their lives are going to be 100% better. And so what propelled me to kind of just do it, because I've been thinking about it for a while, is when I saw so many small businesses getting money from the SBA, if you were set up correctly as a business. And I was like, hold up, like all my people are missing out on this money. So some people were able to take advantage of it. Some people weren't because they weren't set up. But it's at the same point, it's just like, okay, not that we're just going to anticipate a pandemic, because that's blown business away as well. But also, let's just go ahead and plan for the future and be able to have America was built on supporting small businesses. You know, my Mason friend, he set up his business. He's all set up, and we were able to enter in his information, and he was able to get maybe like a $10,000 grant to be able to help his business through some hard times. Construction was really shut down.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think that people think that it's just hard to do that, right? People feel like, oh my God, I can't do it, or it's going to cost so much money to set up. And it's just like, you know, obviously there are other parameters when you're setting up a business, but I want it to be that there is no entry point that you can't get to. So I'm basically getting all my friends, all my people, my CPAs in the group, my attorney is in the group, you guys, you know, all of my mentors. I have paid mentors and, you know, mentors that just mentor me. All of those folks are in the group, and I'm just going to be calling on them, and they already know because I've been talking to them about it. It's just like, hey, I'm going to say next week, we need to get you on the line so that you can explain how the SBA can help your business. Or I'm going to, you know, my mentor is in the group. Everybody, you know, folks that help, that people think that are so far out of reach, because I used to think the same thing. You know, I didn't have a bookkeeper 2 years ago, right? Because I'm like, oh, what do I need a bookkeeper for? But when it was time for the SBA stuff to come into play, I needed him. I needed my CPA to help me with the applications. He did all the stuff for me. You know what I mean? And so, and the fee that I pay him is so nominal compared to what he's, you know, gotten my business to, that I feel like you don't have to use him, but use somebody to make sure that you're able to, you know, to propel yourself. So it's not even only about businesses. It's definitely about investing, because people feel like the stock market is out of reach for sure. They feel like investing in anything, you know, that's not tangible. I see a lot of folks, you know, that do like a lot of the MLM companies and things like that. Nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, like, why aren't we making our own MLM companies? Why aren't, you know, yeah, I definitely applaud. Do you guys follow the young lady FBF Fitness on Instagram?
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yeah, she has a line of like workout clothes and, you know, body shapers and stuff like that. And so she started making an affiliate program, and I applaud her for that. How many Black women, all we do is love to dress. We love to look good. So now she posted, I think yesterday, maybe the day before, how much she paid out an affiliate, and it was like into the tens of thousands of dollars. So it's like, why aren't we doing more of that, to invest in instead of us all trying to be, you know, in these MLMs that really don't necessarily give back to our communities, or you know that type of thing. We have to start making our own stuff up, because we really drive this economy so well that it's no excuse. So that's kind of what Green Everything is. Green Everything is just talking about, you know, the businesses, investing, of course, real estate, because that's where my expertise lies. And then just also just trying to coming together as a community, and really the community is coming together way faster than I thought it would. People are on there like, oh, I put my $5 in my account, like from what we were talking about.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I saw that this morning. I was on there and I saw people like, yeah, I invested. I'm like, oh, that's so dope. But that's why I think it's amazing you're doing it, because it's not just about you. You're giving back to the community, but also putting them in position. I saw someone after the home health. I saw someone say that I got mine set up already. I was like, wow. So it's like
two people.
Yeah, you see,
inside a week.
they were got actual results. They went from watching your video to owning a company. That's amazing.
that the thing is that I think that a lot of people have it in them that they want to do it, but it's just like, if we're not holding ourselves or holding each other accountable, then all we're doing is just walking around. And I think that we, unfortunately, in our community, we hold on to the information like, oh, I don't want to tell so and so about the information because they're going to take my whole community, and it's just that's not the case. It's so many houses to be sold in this community. It's so many businesses that need services. So many people that need it. I refer a lot of my business out just because I want people to win, and I can't service everybody that calls me. I literally can't. If I showed you my calendar, I'm literally, ever since, what was it, May 15th, since they opened up real estate and said that we could start holding houses, I think I don't know when the last time I've slept a full night, because I got to get up. And I have to get up early to respond back to people, to get this together. Can't even talk about how credit repair has taken off. So it's just like, for me, if I could help somebody else, another agent, another person, to say, hey, if you could take care of them and give them exceptional service and treat them with respect, then here goes that referral, right? And so we have to do those types of things in our community. And me and Malik always talk about this. He refers all of his buyers out. And the reason is because he knows that he's not going to be able to really service them, because listings.
And that's what you gotta do. I don't even take buyers no more, because like I already know what it is. I don't have time.
Right.
Which brings us to Morgan says, "Who is Malik?" Malik is a friend of ours.
He's a mutual friend. I went to high school with Malik, and that's one of my best friends. But Jimmy and Corey are also friends with him, so we talk about him a lot.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, so look him up on Instagram at Real Estate Coach Carter. And also a comment from Everett, who says that you stay ahead of the curve. Been watching you for a while now, so he's giving you a shout out saying you stay ahead of the curve. But that is amazing how and Everett's in the group as well, how you give back by bringing these experts in their specific fields and just giving away free information. So I think that's amazing to add that to everything else you got going on. So I just want to say thank you.
And it's a lot of people don't really do the groups because it is a lot to manage, but I put some folks in place to be able to do that. So you guys, this is just the beginning. We're going to really be able to I really want a lot of people to be able to change their trajectory based on what we're talking about. Like I don't even know if I know this story. How did either one of you start investing in the stock market? I think I know.
I'll tell you the story, but I gotta put this up because I knew he was going to say something. He said he's hashtag Cobb Creek Leak. You can go look up the hashtag.
That's my guy.
He's Cobb Creek. I knew he was going to say something. They're going to say something. I'll tell you my story very briefly. So I started when I was younger. I went to Central High School. And when I graduated, I said that I was going to go into politics to help my people. So I was grounded and raised in a situation where it was always about service. And I thought politics was the way. So to make a long story short, after my first year at Lincoln University, and I was a political science major, I started doing some internships and working on political campaigns. And as I was working on political campaigns, and I was the very bottom of the totem. I was doing stuff like just answering phones. But I happened to notice that when certain people called, no matter what was going on, it could be a meeting, the press could be there, the candidate would stop and talk to them. So when we have fundraisers, I would just ask questions like, who are these folks that everybody sort of panders to? And I'm like, you find out that they were the people that funded the campaign. Okay, so it's someone who's inquisitive. What do you do? I'm in real estate. I own this company. I own that company. I'm in the stock market. I'm in real estate. So real estate and the stock market were the two things that just kept coming up. And I'm like, well, these people actually have the power. It's not the candidates. It's the people that fund them. So between that, and then at the same time, a friend of mine recommended a book, which was Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson. So I read the book, and as I'm reading the book, I'm actually watching this happen in real life. So it hit me a little different. And when I went back to school, I changed my major to finance, and I wanted to start studying money. So I wanted to study, real estate and the stock market, because I saw that's where the juice was. So if you really want to get things done, you have to have capital. And what I recognize is votes are cool, But unless you're voting in the block, doesn't matter. And if you have some funds behind your vote, then it changes things. Like I've seen people literally get laws changed. You'll have 600 people knock at a candidate's door and say, we want this. And one person comes with a checkbook and gets what they want over those 600 people. Yeah. And I know that's like, people don't want to hear that. But one of the things that we should know as a community is politicians can be bought and sold just like sneakers. That's just a fact in this current system. So, yeah, and I'll tell a little bit about that story in a book that Corey and I wrote together called Own Your Time and Space. I just want to put that out there because we do have a book Corey and I wrote, On Your Time and Space. Anyway, so that's my story of how I got into investing. So from that day forth, real estate and the stock market has just been like my life. And I still want to be of service. So we decide to give away. So even with our courses, we charge a minimal amount and we give so much. With you, Joe, what you're doing is giving so much too, because for groups like that and to someone to have access to you, I know other people that charge like a monthly subscription, like a Netflix, but we decided against that because it's more about our objective of giving back to the people. But Corey, you can tell your story briefly about how you got into investing.
All right, so my first foray into stocks was actually just selling stock. My dad created an investment portfolio when I was a child. He bought some block shares of some companies, and he put $10 a week after he did that. And then that was my graduation gift when I, graduated from high school. And so he, back then in the 90s, he sent me stock certificates. So he sent them to me in the mail, and I had to go to a broker and actually have them get sold and all of that stuff to get the money. I can't even tell you what was in the portfolio because when he handed it to me, I went right to the broker, got them Jones broke down, and took the money. So don't ask me what was in the portfolio. I don't actually know because
you probably another reason why you probably just gave away a couple million. He probably gave you stuff that right now could have been worth tens of millions of dollars. But
I can't tell you what was in it. All I know was that he gave me that. And I was like, man, I can get me a brand new wheel. I can go to college and stun on these jokers. Yeah, that's what's about to pop, right? So that's what I did. I can't even front. I lived in the hood, and I come from middle class means, but man, you give me a chance to stunt. I stunted on them. So I was like, all right, so that was my first real foray into the stock market. So I bumped into a couple dollars, I'm just gonna say I ran into it. I ran into a couple dollars head first. And then I started buying I actually started investing in other people's businesses. So my family, we started a business, we started a bar. We some other people that were starting businesses, I invested in their businesses. I helped a couple people write books they needed to get them put out. They wanted to do it independently, so I helped them write the books, and I took a portion of those. And so that was my first foray into investing, was investing in people. And that worked out well for me. And then in about 2014, bumped into this dude named James Tompkins. He runs a program called the Abacus. Absolutely amazing. Nothing but black investors. If you're not gonna get with us, you should definitely get with them for investing. The Abacus group. And he put me onto investing in a whole different way. So I learned a lot about the stock market and about the world through the Abacus program. And then after that, I developed my own style of investing. And as far as real estate is concerned, my family, my grandmother owned like half a block in North Philly. And so, I never really thought about property because, we own so much property. Like I never thought about paying rent and none of that stuff until I got to be an adult and moved away from that block. I was like, damn, I live for free all these years. I played the shit out myself. Excuse my French, but I played myself hard. You know what I mean? So we still got some family owned property on that block. I bought and sold some properties. I bought a couple of tax lien properties, sold them Jones. And right now I'm about to buy a crib. I'm in the process of buying, my family's forever home. You know what I mean? My wife
Yeah.
says she wants to settle down, so I'm in the process of doing that. I actually went and prospected the property yesterday, and then I'm going probably close on it by the end of the month.
Yeah,
So
he out there in the Midwest buying like acres and whatnot.
yeah,
He making one of
easy
them
on
Malik.
Jeezy. Easy on
Yeah.
Jeezy. It's
Yo,
definitely some space out there.
Don, salute. You say just got on your time and space. We appreciate that, man. Let us know what you think about it, man, because that was written for our people. Yeah, so that's kind of how we got in the game. And the crazy part about investing is, so I once had a securities, like I had all the securities license, I had a life insurance license, and I let them go to be able to teach the people. So I thought I was going to go one way with it, but when you have securities license, there's certain things you're prohibited from doing, and it didn't kind of like match up with what I wanted to do for the community, which is how I came up with the whole buy the hood concept. And for those maybe watching for the first time, so when we came up with buy the hood, which was years ago, it was started out as just about property, but it was much more than property, because what we recognize as a community that we don't believe in each other. So when we say buy the hood, it's really about Black love. It's about buying into each other, and also it's just about the power of ownership in everything. So that's why we try to do the combination of real estate as well as the stock market, because that's where our expertise lies. And but it's all about community more so than anything else. Because one of the great things about what we're doing, and even what you're doing, is this community. Whether it's like everything green, or by the hood, is like the conversations are changing, right? So I go up and down my timeline, and it's not even just ratchet memes no more. And I do love ratchet memes. So if you got any amazing ratchet
I'm
memes,
a
you can send,
Ratchet meme fan too. I
yeah,
also
you can,
post those regularly.
yeah, I post
Yeah.
those too, so you can send them to me as well. But it's not just that, right? So it's like it's Uchi Wally and one mic. I got the ratchet memes, and then I got like people talking about investing in real estate, investing in the stock market. I got all these conversations, and that just makes for a pleasant experience. And one of the things I like to say to the people is that we always talk about who you surround yourself with, but you have to surround yourself not just offline but online with a certain type of energy, right? Because we always talk about surround yourself with the right people, but that includes social media. That's where we spend our time now, socializing. So make sure you surround yourself with the right people, man. Shout out to Omar, who's a member of Bada Hood University. Omar, what's up, bro? How you?
Yeah.
Appreciate you checking in.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
Because
so
even as a woman, I remember when I've been on social media, maybe I don't know, maybe 12 or 15 years now. But starting out, you see like the Real Housewives and all of that type of stuff. It's just like, oh yeah, pocketbooks and the things like that. Then you just like, then you kind of start seeing the articles come and they're going bankrupt, and they don't have any investments, or things like that. And you're like, well, wait a minute, that's not what I want to do. You know what I mean? And so, as for our young people, that conversation, they need to see folks like us, that even if I have young women inbox me all the time. I want to buy a house, but I'm only 21. Well, how long you been working? Because if you've been working for 2 years, we can make this happen. You know what I mean? Because it's not just about we don't have to rent. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to just get into to a space where we don't have ownership. You can have ownership at any age. Had
yes, you can.
a lady who turned 63. She wants to buy a house before she retires in 2 years. She's never bought a house. Jasmine, am I too old? Absolutely not. Buy the house. You know what I mean? Like, do that, right? And so the conversations are definitely changing. They're getting a lot better. A lot of people that were on the wretched means 24/7, you see those folks that are turning over and saying, nope, we got to go ahead and change this, because I think that everybody is waking up and seeing that our narrative has to change.
Fact.
It can't stay the same. You see this president, like, this dude is like, it's just all over the place. And so it's just like, we have to know how to say to ourselves, you know what, I'm not going to just sit here and be on the sideline of life. I need to be able to be a player in this thing. And
Absolutely.
the only way we can do that is ownership.
That's right. And nobody's coming to save us. It's up to us to save each other, to save our community, save our people. So I appreciate those words, because that's absolutely true. And shout out to everybody who's still on my timeline that was in my top 8 on MySpace, because I was telling my wife the other day, I was like, my wife started on my top 8 on MySpace, so and we still cooking. So I told her, so you recognize you was once on my top 8, but so shout out to everybody who was on my top 8. But anyway, yeah,
That's
yeah,
okay.
so
Conversations are changing, man. I mean,
yes,
people are talking. I've never seen so many people talk about the stock market that I've seen today when I started talking about it, right? And so it's just like one of those things when you're in the market to buy a new car, then you see the car that you want to buy.
yeah, yeah.
So when you start putting that in your mind, and it's now, my coaches are like, "Oh yeah, I invest," and I'm like, "I never do that. I thought you were just
You
into
do that, right?
real estate
And that's
investing."
why,
He's like,
but
"No,
that's why,
you should buy Disney. You should
that's
buy
why
Disney."
what we do, right? So one of the reasons we focus so heavy on why you should invest is because of what you just said. So we get into the nitty gritty and talk about, like, balance sheets, income statements, like technical analysis. We could do all those things, but we always focus on the why you invest, because it's so important to understand how money works, how the banks work, and why you should be looking at this, because we want you to get a better worldview, and you could do that through the stock market. Shout out to my cousin Dante checking, and he says that Robinhood changed the game, and
Hell
Robinhood
yeah,
definitely
dude.
did change the game. So
Thank you,
they got a
Robin
lot of
Hood.
people, that was,
It got a
yeah, got a
lot.
lot of people that were sitting on the sidelines, yeah, into the game, so that they were definitely a game changer. Well, we got a couple minutes left. We like to stay on here for an hour every Friday, and we will be back next Friday. We're here for an hour, but before we get out of here, Jazz, I just want to basically say thank you for one, for coming in and joining us, for having us on your platform, but also for what
Dinner
you're doing with that group.
8 o'clock was my call time, so I had dinner coming, and I'm like, so.
So good. But listen though, I just want to say thank you, because what you're doing with the group is amazing. We're going to make sure we can help you out any way we can and contribute in any way we can. And even we were having a conversation earlier. Like, we had a full conversation with multiple people about a 15-year mortgage and a 30-year mortgage. I was like, this is dope
Like,
to
how
have
many
these conversations on.
conversations before? No, we were not. But now we're
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
and that people are knowing the
yeah.
cons, the pros and the cons of any situation. They're
Hmm.
they're starting that discussion. You know what I mean? People, we all see the repost and things like that, and we're just like, oh well, that sounds good and it makes sense. And you said something very
But let's get into it.
notable. It's like, hey, let's break this down, because some of it makes sense, but some of it, man, just doesn't, right? And so
Yeah.
we,
Yeah.
we gotta know what makes sense and what doesn't, and we need to educate our people. Somebody said to me, well, yeah, people don't know, they don't realize. That's because they haven't been educated, and once they're educated,
Hmm.
have that education, and they still make some of the, some of those decisions that don't really make sense, then that's when we can say
Hmm.
they're making poor decisions, but not if
Yeah.
they don't grow. When I'm talking to my
And
credit risk
Karima,
clients, yeah, thanks. Yeah, Karima,
no, I was going to say, Karima, thank you for tuning in.
yeah,
But before we get out of here, the one
mm,
thing I want to say, Jazz, again, is thank you, and to the folks that are watching from that group or our group, because it's in our group as well.
mm,
Um, ask questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question, because we're here to, like, to serve and make sure that you have answers. And we don't know it all, but the one thing I do know is I can find someone that has the answer. So
Oh, for
make sure you
sure.
ask the questions. Like, you know what I mean? Like Jazz says, she filled her group with the people that mentioned her. So we'll find the answers.
yeah, I would rather you ask the question than go out and just not know. Because if you don't
Mhm.
know, then you're just gonna make just like the craziest decisions. I love not knowing, because then I'm gonna search for the answer, and I'm gonna go high and low and figure it out, and everybody is gonna say, oh yeah, this is how you do this, and that's how I learn. People are like, well, how do you know so much about this and that? Or realtors always ask, how did you get started, or how do you know? Because I ask the questions. All the mortgage
That's
officers
what
want
it's
to take
about.
me out to lunch. I ask all the questions. I know the product's just as good as them. When a new product
That's what
comes
it's
up,
about.
they call me. They love to talk shopping game to me. Why not?
Yep. Stacy, we appreciate you. Thanks for chiming in. And also Samira, we appreciate you. For those watching, make sure you share this on your page. Reach out to all of us. We'll see you in any one of the groups. If you whatever group you're in, Buy the Hood has a page as well that's open to the public. We also have a private group that's for all of our students that come through. And if anybody's watching from Jasmine has a special rate that she gets, because that's our sister. So you can go through her. She has a special rate to get any of our courses or anything on our entire Buy the Hood University. So Jazz, want to say thank you, because we're getting ready to get out of here. But for
Absolutely.
everybody watching, we appreciate you. Thanks for sharing your information, Jazz. Corey, man, you know what it is. To the
Yeah.
folks out there, Listen, man, it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much you keep. So just always keep that in mind and check us out next week, 7 to 8. We'll be on our live, and throughout the week, we'll be dropping our podcast coming up as well. So we appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next live. Peace.
Thank y'all.
Hey,
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Listen,